Hello, avid readers, book nerds, and casual observers, and welcome to the Read Along brought to you by the Lit Round Table. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Anna, and today we're talking about The Light of the Midnight Stars by Rena Rossner. All right, week 4, part 8. Here we are.
Yes, part 8, Light of the Midnight Stars.
So jumping right into it, we're in a new place with new names.
Yeah. Yep.
So I've got a little guide for us that we're gonna go through real quick.
I love it. I'll need it.
Okay, so Appa is now called Ivan.
Mm-hmm.
And they call him Papa instead of Appa. And Ima,
Fair.
her new name is Elena, or Elena. How did they say it in the audiobook?
That's a great question. I think probably Alana.
Okay, so Elena.
I could be wrong.
It only has one N, so... and then they call her Mama. So it's Papa and Mama now.
Yeah.
Hannah is now Anna. Sarah is Stana.
Mm-hmm.
And Lavana is... This one's hard for me because it's got a P and a T sound right next to each other. Laptitsa.
Mm-hmm.
So that will be confusing, but we're gonna handle it like champs.
We're gonna do our best.
Yes. And then in the epigraph, it also tells us that they end up landing in a town or in a place that has a linden tree. And then there's one line in the epigraph where a linden tree grows, there is peace. And so they pick this place to live because there's a linden tree here. Mm-hmm. And it's like legend that there's a cave under this tree, and it's like where magical things happen. Mm-hmm. So that's the epigraph for this section.
And they're in Wallachia.
Thank you.
Now.
See, this is where there's a lot of names and things in this book that I don't even begin to know how to pronounce. And because I'm reading it, I'm like, oh yeah, it's that word that starts with a W. Or yeah, it's... I don't even attempt to pronounce it in my head, so I'm glad you're listening to it so that you can give us the pronunciation.
I'm not going to lie, the only reason I remembered Wallachia is because that's where a lot of the stuff happens in Castlevania in the TV show on Netflix, so... Yeah, that's where we are.
Is it a real place?
Maybe in this time period.
Huh.
I don't know about anymore, but...
I mean, this is set in Hungary... And there are, like, real thing... I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a historical fantasy.
Place. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, so after the epigraph, and now we know where we are, we have a nice long Stana chapter.
Yes. Formerly known as Sarah.
Yes.
Now Stana. So it seems like kind of a lot of this first section is kind of coping with the things that happened in the previous couple sections. Like, it's still pretty dreary as far as the mood goes. A lot of still like remembering what happened and trying to move on with their lives in this new place with new names. But they're kind of, I mean, it's tough.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine having to go through something like that, but...
Yeah. It's been 3 weeks since the incident. And Stana feels pretty responsible to be strong for the others. She thinks it's her duty to be strong for them. And she reflects a lot on how they've all changed. I do think it's interesting that this wasn't part of her reflection on how they've changed, but she like makes a statement early on in the chapter about how she would never disobey her parents.
Yeah.
Which is funny because previously it's like that's all she wanted to do was just do her own thing and ignore them. But I think that everything that happened with Jacob and Hannah has really...
You're trying really hard not to say lit a fire under her, aren't you?
No.
Because that would be disrespectful to Jacob.
No, that is not at all what I was trying to say. But now that's all I can think. It's really shattered this illusion that she had of, like, independence and... Like, I think she thought that she could do it all on her own, and now she's like, oh no, I absolutely can't, because we all need to help each other through this season.
I think there was a lot of growing up that happened, watching your brother-in-law burn to death and running away from home, or
Yeah.
being banished or outcast from your community. I think that, and also like she just kind of went from that bratty teenager phase straight into like the young adult phase,
Mm-hmm.
because everyone has that phase where everything that your parent says is stupid,
Mm-hmm.
and you just cannot stand them. And I feel like that's where she was, and now she's in the young adult phase of, okay, maybe they uh, did have some good ideas occasionally, and maybe I'll do what they say sometimes,
Yeah.
or at least think about it, you know.
Yeah. Totally.
So I feel like Hannah, now Anna, was kind of already in that
Mm-hmm.
area, and now Stana is also in that area.
She even
So
comments on how Lavana, now La Pizza, is also very grown up compared to how she was when they first left.
mhm. Yeah,
There's also an interesting note about how Father finally prays, and it's like it's been a long time since he's done that. Ooh, we should note that like part of the reason they ended up where they are is because there's supposedly religious freedom under the current king in this region,
yeah. Hmm.
but they're still very guarded,
Oh yeah,
and like not they don't want to like show anybody that they're Jews or
yeah. They're
anything.
not lighting candles in the window anymore.
Nope.
They're way more cagey with that information, understandably so.
Yeah.
But
So part of her like trying to protect and be strong for her sisters is that she wants to go out to the forest, and also she wants to see if Gavriel will be there.
mhm.
She's always looking for Gavriel.
Yep.
And they find a place by a birch tree, and Anna buries Jacob's candles at the base of this birch tree.
The
And
the candlesticks.
yes.
The
Yes, the candlesticks.
yeah.
I wrote it in shorthand. It's just candle, but it's not. It's
Yeah.
candlestick.
The silver,
Mm-hmm.
the things that the candles go into, the silver things.
Yes.
She buried those.
And then she plants strawberries to have to remember him. And then Stana, my own name is ruining their names for me, buries the talent for Gavriel, which is kind of a big thing for her. And then Laptitsa pulls out the Book of Solomonars and buries it.
Yep.
Which the other girls are like, does Papa know that you have that? And she goes, I don't think so. Mama put it in my bag, and I don't think he has any idea, but we're going to bury it. Interesting choice, but okay.
Yeah, I was like, so your mom snuck this book to you to like hold on to it for safekeeping, and you're like, I'm gonna bury it.
Yeah. Yeah. But this
Whatever, kid.
La Pizza. Am I saying that right?
La pizza.
She did some funny things in this section. So
Yeah.
and then the last little note I have for this section was the light still follows them.
Right. Yeah. They've still got like the starlight that is leading to their home, which they're now kind of, they're not squatting. They're like living there, but it was like an abandoned house that nobody was living in, that they've taken residence in. I was like, man, if only that's how easy it was in real life. You just ask around for a vacant house and then you just move your stuff in. Wow.
I mean, they didn't
That
have
sounds
stuff,
really
but
convenient.
yeah. Well, it's part of like Papa's job. He's working in a field now. I think he found
Yeah.
a job, and part of it is they're having this house. So, so he's like a tenant farmer now, almost. I think. Is that your understanding?
I'm shaky on like what his job is,
I'm not sure that it's
to be
said
honest.
exactly. We don't get a lot about either parent in these 3 sections that we read for this week.
It just kind of seemed like this house fell into their laps, which I mean, happy for them and jealous. Yeah. So that's Stana. Then who was next? Was it
Anna.
Anna next? Shaking things up with the usual order.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
So
She claims that they were born again in the forest, which I thought was very poetic. Yeah, this is just a lot of her trying to like wrestle with how does she move on.
yeah, like I'm a new person now. This is a new book that I'm writing, um, trying to move on with my life, all that stuff. So she's and in her section, I know she comments a lot about like her power, and there are things that happen in this section and maybe later sections too that I might be kind of mixing, but like when sometimes when she uses her power, like the plants turn into ash in her hands, and I'm trying to figure out if she's like dreaming that or if it's like a real thing.
Yeah, I had the
But
same question because she like has a dream that the strawberries have like grown around her ankles, and she picks the strawberries and they turn to ash in her hands. But then later they're out berry picking, and I don't know if it's this chapter or the next. It might be the next one.
she does end
But
up using her powers, and they do work. But
yes, but she also like they're berry picking, and then she like it's almost like she has a vision and she drops her basket because things start to turn to ash, and it's hard to say if it's. I think it's in the next section, so maybe I'll hold on to that. But
okay,
she's having a hard time with like reality in her dreams and like what's really happening and what's not happening.
yeah, because I think her powers kind of remind her of who they were before, and it's probably a bit of a trigger for her.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she probably just wishes she was a normal person.
Yeah.
um, yeah. Is this the section where they decide to go into the woods again? Does she go in the woods with
Papa.
Papa? Is that what's happening?
She
Yeah.
does. I do have one quote right before that little encounter where
Hmm.
she said, I chose love and it destroyed my family. And I just want to hug her.
Yeah. She feels a lot of guilt because if she hadn't fallen in love with Jacob and married him,
Mm-hmm.
then who knows what would have happened. But um,
I'm just like, where's the Duchess? Because she's really the one who's at fault for all this. And I'm annoyed that these poor girls are
yeah,
taking on so much blame for something that is completely not their fault.
I blame the black mist. I'm waiting. I'm really
Mm.
nervous about the black mist following them.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But
You're right, because the Black Mist poisoned the mind of the Duchess
yeah.
against the Jews.
So really, we blame the dragon that the black mist came off of in the legend.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, yeah. So Anna and Papa go into the forest. They're berry picking, right? Is that what they're doing, or was that earlier? They're doing
I
something in
just
the
said she's
forest.
out with Papa. They go out to the forest a lot for like berry picking and also just like gathering herbs and other things.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
she's out there with
And
him.
mhm. While they are out there, there is a hunting party that they see, and they are trying to hide from them because they don't want any trouble. They like random people in the forest with a hunting party would maybe seem a little suspicious, so they're trying to hide from them.
Mm-hmm.
And this is this. I think this is the moment where Anna uses her powers to kind of hide them
Yeah.
from the.
She like pulls, it's kind of a cool moment in the book because she pulls the branches across them and
Mm-hmm.
then she backs away.
She does the Homer Simpson into the bush thing.
She totally does. Oh my gosh, she totally does. Yes, that's
Yeah,
exactly what happens.
yeah. She does that for both of them, and they're able to escape unseen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah. So she uses her powers without everything turning into ash. So
Yeah.
that's good. That's a good moment for
Mm-hmm.
her.
Mm-hmm.
Also, in this section and in the later sections we'll talk about today too, we never see Papa do anything magical at all. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, I'm thinking. Stana mentions that he prays and it's been a long time. We also know that his like prayer is directly related to his powers, and so I'm wondering if after that, I think it was in the last section, he comes back from being a dragon rider or whatever,
Yeah.
and the pizza witnesses him curse God, and I wonder if that was the last time that he prayed until they got to this house.
Yeah. Probably. Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was Anna's section, and now we get Laptitsa,
Mm-hmm.
and she's got some really trippy stuff going on.
She really does. The only note I
Um,
have written for this section for her is falling star.
yeah. So she's been sneaking out into the forest now. Now she's the sneaker.
Mm-hmm.
She's the one that's now been sneaking out into the forest when everyone goes to sleep, and a star falls down and hits her on the head.
Right.
and she's got like stardust on her forehead. And yeah,
And she
it's
like
just this weird thing.
she thinks it's a dream or she thinks it's not real, and then she touches her forehead and then she's got like the white star powder
Yeah.
on her, and she's like, it's real.
Yeah. It happened. She's got weird stuff going on. But that was like pretty much her section was just going into the forest, falling star, bonk, stardust on forehead. Super weird. Like just trying to figure out what to make of. Like her chapters have been the weirdest for me, and
100%.
it's definitely staying that way. That's still staying true.
Yes.
After the new location and name change.
In fact,
It seems kind of like. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I would argue that she gets weirder now that they've moved on.
For sure. It seems like the other powers that we had seen with like the Solomonars with the plant stuff and the animal stuff in the weaving is like backseat now, and now it's all weird Laptitsa Star Child powers. Super weird. Super weird.
I agree.
But we're going to get even more into it in the next episode. Things get really weird in the next Laptitsa moment.
Yes.
But that's pretty much it for this section. That was our sister cycle. New town, who dis? So
new name, who dis?
Yeah. So yeah, that's where we're at. So go ahead and click on the next episode if you want to keep going along with us, and we'll get to talk about the weirdness that is the next Laptitsa chapter. So come see us there.
It'll be really interesting, guys. Okay.
But either way, until then, go read something cool.
And we'll talk at you next time.
Later.
Bye.